All right, welcome again to another episode of Beginner's Guide to Rust. My name is Thomas, and today we are looking at loops and conditions. So one of the first things you're going to run into is doing some kind of Boolean logic. So here I have a variable called door locked. It's set to a Boolean true, right? A Boolean is a statement that is either true or false. So here we do what's called Boolean logic. We have an if condition. We're saying that if the door is locked, we're going to print out a statement that says the door is locked. Otherwise, we use this else statement here, and that will define that. So Boolean logic actually comes from, it was introduced by a guy named George Boole in his first book of mathematical analysis of logic. So there's quite a bit of history going on here dealing with set theory and statistics. The whole idea is that instead of elementary algebra with addition and multiplication, you have these other types of operations you can do, conjunctions, ands, disjunctions like ors, negations. But anyway, here in Rust, if you want to do a not, this is the character that you use to use that exclamation point on prefixing a condition. So it's the same thing as a not, right? Let's say you have two different conditions here, a true and a false. And you want to say, okay, if the lights are on, we're going to do one thing. If the door is locked, maybe we want to combine those things into multiple conditions. So here we're using the and symbol, right? And that'll give us to be able to combine statements, right? Same thing here, here. The else is the sort of like a catch-all, right? So the and is the same as an and. We're joining two statements. You can also combine other conditions with the else if statement. You might see this in other programming languages. You'll notice that in Rust, there's no parentheses typically. You can use parentheses, but they're optional, right? And the else, of course, is our catch-all. If you want to do an or statement, use the double, these are called pipes, right? So this is an or statement, watch TV or read book. If you want to do a XOR statement, XOR would be like, you can do one, you can do the other, but you can't do both type of situation, right? You have the unless, then operator, greater than operators. You have an equality operator, right? So if you want to make sure that it's equal to something, you just use that. This is kind of a list of all the other type of symbols that you'll run into in Rust. The overloading trait that is associated with that in the standard library, the overloading compound assignment trait as well. You'll hear that word more and more as trait. It's basically how all of Rust sort of in the standard library and how you kind of build things and make it extensible. So if you want to extend your implementations to implement some of these basic operations, you would implement a trait here, right? And it would be like an add or subtract, etc. Right, these are some of the conditional operators. So equality, negate, not equal, greater than, etc. That kind of falls into this documentation here where it'll kind of show you, well, what is an operator expression, and it's a combination of these things. This is the remainder operator, right? So there's a catch with that. It's a truncating division. So remainder equals the dividend percent divisor, and the remainder will have the same sign as the dividend. Also, this is known as a for loop, right? You notice again, we don't have the parentheses, that's optional. We'll specify in. This is actually a type of iterator. You'll get into iterators a little bit later because there's a little bit more involved with how those work, but this is kind of like syntactic sugar for an iterator. You can also create a range here. So you notice I'm doing 1 to 101, not including. It also supports a range of different types of ranges. So you can say start in, start, end. You can see here I'm including it, range inclusive, range 2 inclusive. Those are the various types of ways you can do that. This is a loop, right? So you just specify a loop scope here, and you can have it iterate as long as you need to, right? If you need to exit the loop, use the break keyword here. That does include a semicolon. If you want to return early from it, this is going to exit the entire function, right? Not just the loop scope here. But you can just remain in the function if you're using break. If you need to continue to the next iteration, you use the continue keyword. Also, up here, this is a mute keyword. that kind of denotes our mutability. There's a little bit more involved in what mutability is in Rust, but a good way to think about it is sort of like if you need a variable to change, you add the mute keyword. By default, the variable cannot be changed, which means it's immutable. Right? Also, you can actually use the break combined with a return value if you want to return that specific value and break it out of the loop. That can be combined with a let statement here. So if I'm saying let result equals whatever the break is for count. This is a while loop. So I'm saying while n is less than 101, right? You'll have basically a condition similar to the if statements. You can combine these with the while let statements to sort of unwrap values and evaluate a block. So here, this would read, while let destructure is optional into some value, evaluate the block, else it will break, right? This also works for if let statements. So it's sort of the same idea. We'll get into more into about what options are in Rust. Just know that it's essentially like you can have something that's a maybe. You might hear that in a different language. It's either none or it has some value, right? All right, so let's look at some examples here. So here I'm going to create a couple of examples here. This time I'm going to use the lib path. That'll help me create a library. So what's the difference here is now I have a lib.rs and a cargo.toml instead of a main.rs. So you'll see here the first thing it does is create an add function, and it actually also creates tests that I can use. So let's kind of use that, right? So we're going to create additional functions here, maybe for division is valid, maybe. You can also use this assert macros here. So and if you want to run your tests, you use cargo test, right? Let's create some other functions here, maybe something that uses our loop operator. And maybe we can do something where maybe it's even, we change it, right? So count 2 equals 0, it's even, right? We're gonna maybe multiply it by 2. Otherwise, maybe we'll do nothing, right? So, and then if, let's say if count is less than or is greater than 100, then we're gonna break out of this. But we're gonna need to break out with count. All right, so notice here, it's giving me an error because I'm not actually returning a number here. So what is result? It is already an I32. That's sort of the default because it implies that it's always going to be positive as a signed integer. So here we're going to say result. So let's just write a test. What did I call that function? Counter, right? So let's just do that. So notice here it's giving me an error because you have to include a format here for that macro. That's kind of the default behavior here. So run cargo tests, pass. Another thing to note here is I just wanted to print out something, but it didn't, right? So to do that when you run test, you have to include this no capture. And it's actually, there we go, right? So 1240. All right, what are some other ways we can do this? We can maybe, we haven't even used the in at all here, so we can kind of get rid of that. Get rid of that. Yeah, we can maybe change this to a while loop. We'll use this range operation here. And maybe we'll do the same thing, right? It's even, then we'll multiply by 2. Okay. And then notice that we're not returning a result. You cannot do a let statement here for a for loop. So in this case, I'm just going to say count. And notice it also saying, well, I'm not using this in at all. So you can use the underscore to prefix it. You can either prefix it or you can just say underscore. All right, so that'll do that. And we'll just call it here. All right, loop counter. And we don't know if that's actually what's going to return. So that's fine. Another way, if you want to see, instead of doing a print line, you can use this debug statement. And that's nice, particularly because when it runs, assuming that you have no capture on, you'll actually see the line of code, as well as the expression that was being done and the what it evaluated to. Yeah, so that's kind of a brief introduction to loops, conditions, while loops, combination of those two with Boolean logic, things like that. So yeah, if you like this video, please like it, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and I will see y'all in the next one. Thanks again.